Today I'm gonna be looking at the survival game Stranded Deep, and this is gonna be awesome because I'm gonna let you know what's real, what's not, what works, what doesn't. You're gonna live, you're gonna die. It's a lovely deserted island. Quite small, might not have a water source, but beggars can't be choosers when you are in a survival situation in the ocean. Got some tide pools and rocks. Those are gonna come in handy later. Some fishing. Looks like maybe some eel grass there. Actually, looks like there have been other wrecks there, which could be good. That means there's probably gonna be some debris that you can use. Maybe pull that raft up a little more so that if the tide rises, you don't lose your raft. You wanna hang on to that. Oh, a tarp. Score. There you go. You've got your shelter. You've got a water catcher. You can make a water still with that. Really, a tarp is a damn good find. He's collecting some plants. So he's getting out of business. He got to the island and he's like, look, I'm here. It's my new home. There's a crab. Probably gonna eat that later. Gonna make myself some shelter. Probably would be worth looking for some water. Maybe heading inland to the interior of the island, seeing if there is a fresh water source. If not, you've got the tarp, buddy. Set that thing up, make yourself a water still. Gonna be thirsty real quick. Got a knife, this is great. I don't know if he found that or if he made that, but it doesn't matter. Pretty stoked to have a knife. Collecting items, rocks, plants. See the crab, great meal. 5-star Michelin rated restaurant quality. Crabs, shellfish, seaweed, all really good things. Tree, okay, so he can build himself a shelter, or maybe he's gonna build himself a spear and do some spear fishing, get himself some fish. He's got all those shallows around him, that's great. Got some shade, some nice big trees. He's gonna build a fire, probably a good thing to do right off the bat. If your plane went down, they're gonna be looking for you. They're gonna know where your last communication was. They're gonna be looking for you by air, most likely, so smoke is a good thing. Fire, you can even spread that fire out. You can even spell things, SOS, hello, go away, whatever you want. There are tricks to climbing a coconut tree, which he clearly knows. I've tried this, it's hard. One thing you don't want to do is set up your shelter underneath a coconut tree because pretty much a coconut like that landing on your head is gonna kill you. Also avoid them if it's windy. Comes off a fire, he's got a coconut. The coconut meat you can use to eat, rather nutritious. Coconut water, it's good hydration, lots of electrolytes there. You can also use that as a bowl. I've cooked fish that I've caught on a deserted island in a coconut bowl. Gives it great flavor. Get out there, and if you stand in the water about ankle deep, knee deep, with a sharp spear, you're gonna be able to get yourself some fishes. Don't make direct eye contact with them. They know, they really do. When we spearfish, you look away from the fish before you shoot it because it sees your eyes and it knows that you're a predator and you wanna eat it. A fire spit, this is great. He's gonna cook himself some fish on that. Everything you catch to eat, you're gonna wanna cook. Even fresh fish, usually when we spearfish and we catch them, we freeze them for a day or two because wild fish often have parasites. Tropical areas like this, you also have cicatera to contend with, and that is a toxin that comes from algae that the fish eat, that the reef fish eat. So when you do take fish in tropical locations, you wanna take the smallest examples of the species. So like a barracuda or a parrotfish, grouper, anything like that. You wanna take the smallest ones because the big ones obviously have more toxin accumulated in them. Guy's got a fire, he's got a spit. I didn't see how he built that fire. Maybe he used his knife like steel and just had a spark going, or maybe he had a lighter, who knows? Keep that fire going all the time. It's gonna be your signal. To take down a trunk like that, you can fell it and just feed it into the fire. Oh, there you go, he's spearfishing. 3-prong is really nice. You just get a piece of bamboo or a stick. You can split it 3 ways with a rock, tie it around, bind it. Exactly what he's done there, it's perfect. Put a rock in there, so now he has a hatchet. There's the water still with that tarp. Good job, buddy. Water stills are a fantastically effective way to either distill salt water or to catch fresh water. A meat smoker. Where are you gonna get meat? Creatures on this island? Going into the shallows to do some spearfishing again. That hammerhead shark is giving him grief, probably curious. Maybe he can harvest some seaweed. Most seaweed is quite edible and nutritious. That's a good option. Made himself a little moonlit paddle. He was over that island. I hope he's appreciating that beautiful full moon. It's part of the survival mindset, appreciating the beauty around you. This guy is really not taking the stay in place advice. He's like, look, there's a lot of islands, I wanna explore them all. That's fair. We got a sunken ship. There might be some stuff to find here. He's free diving now with the spear, probably for safety. In case there's some critters out there he just has to defend himself against. Swimming around in the sunken boat. Probably some good stuff to find on there. Yeah, take that, take the wood. See if there's anything in that chest. All right, spyglass, that's good. Guy can hold his breath. Buoys, could use those for a raft. I mean, you've got your raft, but that's a pretty decent backup. Probably want to collect those. Built himself a raft there. Not sure what happened to a survival raft. I would have gone with that over this, but hey, it's good to have backups. So he's building himself a large raft. Apparently he is over the island and he's planning to get the hell out of Dodge. I would personally prefer to stay on the island until I'm found, rather than be out in open water, but to each their own. Maybe he's got a few more islands to explore in the archipelago.
It's exciting.
Mackenzie, not now.
Just let me tell you.
Will, shut up for a second.
Playing in a snowstorm. I kind of feel like something bad is gonna happen. Up, we're going down. They're holding hands. This isn't good. We've got trees, we've got impact. Oh, but the stars are pretty. There's that positive mental attitude I always talk about. Oh man, yeah. Okay, so we've got an impalement there. Yeah, and outside of a survival situation, you do not want to remove an impalement, but I'm guessing no one's coming to get you here in the next couple of hours. So go for it, my friend. You're taking stock. Clearly you're gonna need a little bit of first aid. If you're bleeding, you are going to want to stop that. Oh, it looks like there's some kind of a cave. I would probably go ahead and use that fire and light myself some crap on fire to get some warmth. And he did exactly that. Look at that, smart man. In this snowy environment, you're really gonna wanna consider shelter because again, it goes back to the rule of threes. 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, but you're really looking at about 3 hours without being able to regulate your body temperature. If there's a cave with animal bones in it, I would probably check to see how fresh they are because at some point a cave was probably utilized by some kind of an animal taking shelter, maybe a hibernating bear. But if there's nothing in there and you can light a fire, you're probably gonna be able to keep most things away. So this guy has decided he is going to go somewhere, which probably is not the best course of action. I personally would stay put. Now he's climbing. I wouldn't do that. Like if you get hurt, everything's slippery and cold. He's got some kind of a plant there. It looks like it is rose hips, which is edible. Okay, if you know that, harvest them. You've got a little bit of food there. That's good. Grass you can also use. There are a lot of pine trees, conifers around. You can use the pine needles. You can make tea. Oh, there's a plane. Wow, there you go. Well, you can probably salvage bits and pieces off of this plane and use them for things. Yeah, there you go. Pick stuff up. You've got a coat. That's good. First aid kit. You're gonna need that, buddy, because you are bleeding. Okay, so we've got some kind of a radio tower. This is great. Scenic view, so there's probably a road there. Is that a dead body? I'll tell you this from personal experience. If you've seen one dead body, you've seen them all. I would go through his pockets and take his clothing, honestly. And I know everyone's wondering, so I'll just tell you this right now. If it comes down to eating him, you just Donner Party his ass. And I mean that literally, start with the ass. Well, this is a score. There's like a nice house with a porch. I'd get there as quickly as I possibly could. Oh, it's a village. Oh, there's smoke in the fireplace. Okay. Oh, we're looking pretty good. There's another dead body. There's an axe and a bloody dude.
What happened to you?
Now, if you ate the first one, you're kind of full, so you don't need to eat this one. But at least you've got leftovers. There's a lot of blood all over the place, you guys. I'm feeling a little creeped out. Do you want to follow the blood? It's like a scary movie. Don't go in there.
Hey, wake up.
Do you want to wake up the guy with the shotgun? Do you?
Make the wrong move, say the wrong thing. You'll see how good a shot I am.
If you don't shoot me, I will share my bunny rabbit with you. We're gonna cook the rabbit. This guy's got a really nice house, so maybe you can just stick around there. Maybe he's got a phone, you could call for help. Maybe he's got some spices, you could really prepare that rabbit well. Maybe he's got a car, you could get the hell out of there. He's got a fishing tackle, he's got hooks, this is good. Could do some ice fishing. Again, fish is a great source of protein. All right, there he goes. He's gonna do some ice fishing. Great, taking up a new hobby. You know, he's like, I've never done this. I've always wanted to. This is fun. Now I'm surviving and I have to ice fish. Nice, okay. Got some salmon, got some fat. That's good, we want that. This guy's eating better than I did today. Who's in the survival situation here? I ate McDonald's in my car and this guy's grilling himself salmon. It's not fair. Yeah, there's no reason, unless it's an emergency, to be wandering out in a blizzard. Hypothermia, snow blindness, it's just kind of death. Blizzard comes up, your tracks are gonna be useless. You're gonna most likely end up with snow blindness, or you basically sunburn your eyes. You're gonna have a really hard time getting back. He's just like, you know what, this is a good time to go ice skating. I like the snow, it's so magical. Frozen's my favorite movie, I just wanna be out here. We're in some kind of a pod. We're gonna crash land. Just guessing. Usually how it starts, isn't it? Actually, it maybe looks like some kind of a underwater habitat, but it's on fire. Fire in enclosed spaces, bad news, really bad news. Oh, this is seriously on fire. Whatever this place is, you want to get out of there immediately. If it's enclosed and there's a fire, it's sucking the oxygen out of there, smoke. Abort mission, get out. That's a fire extinguisher, you might want to use that. All right, so he's putting out the fire, you're still gonna want to get out of there. This thing's very fancy, modern looking. Ooh, gosh, his futuristic iPad. It's in emergency mode. So fancy. See, even in the future, they've got the wheel of death. Oh, it's loading. I'll be here for 10 minutes. So it looks like he's taking stock of where he is. This is great in a survival situation. The first thing you want to do is you really want to stop. You want to take note of what you have, all the supplies that you have. First aid kit, that's great. You want to have some basic knowledge of first aid if you are out in the wilderness in a survival situation that is going to serve you well. I'm guessing if there was a crash and a fire, he might have some cuts, some lacerations. I see kelp. Kelp is actually a really good source of food. If you have an option, you want to rinse it off because you don't want to be ingesting a lot of salt. Looks like his spaceship is on fire, so we don't know if that is actually habitable or if he's going to have to find himself some sort of an island, which would be a very good idea because floating around in the water, just you're gonna last about 3 days because getting fresh water is gonna be nearly impossible, which actually is a good time to bring up drinking your own pee. Don't do it, the movies lie. It's actually bad. What is that, a staple gun? A scanner. It's an acid mushroom. I'm not familiar with those. Are those the kind that make you see pretty things? I don't know. Seaweeds are good, glowing seaweeds. Now, I'm not familiar with those unless it's bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is kind of a form of algae. On our planet, kelp and seaweed are actually a great source of food. So you want to collect that, have it for snacks. Our friend here is trying to repair his space capsule flotation device pod. It's probably a good idea. People have survived at sea in a boat or some kind of a ship floating aimlessly for over a year. And if it's just you in the water, you're not going to survive for very long. If you have a wetsuit, great. It's probably going to keep you warm, keep you buoyant, but eventually you are just going to dehydrate and die. Plus, you know what? Your skin's going to fall off. You know how your skin gets really pruny and soft when you're in the water?
Welcome aboard, Captain. Caution. Continued degradation of the...
This is a full underwater base. Cave sulfur, creature egg. Ooh, what's that? Wreck, sandstone chunk. This guy can identify everything. He's got a 3D printer. Why don't you build yourself an engine to get the hell off this planet? What is that, like an underwater scooter? That's fun. Guy's like, you know what, I'm here, I'm gonna have a good time. The seamount is a fast, safe mode of transportation. But remember this, swimming is good. Yeah, you gotta get your exercise in, clearly.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay, so now he's exploring at night. This guy's a true scientist, I feel like. He's like, I'm on this planet, I might die, but I gotta know what everything is. Gotta identify it, give it some scientific names. Ooh, it's like a seahorse with a big round head. Kind of a mermaid. It's a mermaid seahorse. Is it edible? It's my question for everything. I'm always hungry. Okay, so he's coming to the surface and there's an island. Well now, look at this. Okay, so now we're on an island. This is great. Plant life on an island. Don't know that you want to eat things that you don't know anything about. Those look like mushrooms. Mushrooms on our planet are scary. Mushrooms on another planet, 10 times as scary. This is maybe like a crab creature. If it's a crab, you can eat it. It'll probably be quite delicious. Got all kinds of plants, grasses, maybe something like a palm tree. Maybe there's a coconut there. Coconuts are harder to climb than one person would think. I've tried. I made it a few feet off the ground. Kind of reminds me of that movie with Sam Jackson where the shark comes up and eats him, which we haven't really seen any predators. Well, that's a plus if there are no vicious predators on this planet. All right, so it says that the sunbeam will arrive in 39 minutes and 38 seconds. So I'm guessing that's rescue. If you've only got 39 minutes, have some fun. Ooh, that looks big. Suddenly got really murky. I'm not a fan of murky water. Things sneak up on you in murky water. What's that? He's like, I gotta see what it is. Okay, so this is alien versus predator versus tiger shark. It's big, it's big. Is it aggressive? Is it friendly? He's zapping it, he's scanning it. It's the little wheel of death. In 45 seconds, I'll tell you if this thing's gonna eat you or not. Oh, that thing's large, and it roars. But you know, like any other predator, I guess if it were a shark, it's the only thing I can relate it to. Stand your ground, don't panic, don't flail around, don't raise your heartbeat. I've had to move tiger sharks out of the way with my hands like this. You don't want to let them push you around. If anything, swim at them instead of away from them. We are in a jungle. We are in a jungle, green hell. He made it. Looks like he kayaked in.
You do know you have the walkie-talkie.
All right, so we have a couple people. He's in communication. This is good. Looks like he has a canoe over there. He's got walkie-talkies. This isn't survival. This is St. Regis.
I need to find something in my backpack.
He's got a backpack. This is great. Probably all kinds of survival stuff in a backpack. Kind of feel like something's gonna go wrong here. All right, so they're gonna be doing some exploring in the jungle. It looks like he's already climbed up a cliff. He's looking around. So at this point, it's kind of hard to tell. Are they lost? Are they exploring? Is there a survival situation happening? Is there exploration?
I am glad we came back here.
Don't really know what's happening in the survival space. I feel flirting happening here.
As soon as we're settled in, I am off to the Jawahaka village.
Okay, so she knows where there's a village, there's civilization, there's a bridge, there's habitation here.
Good thing I have an anthropologist at hand.
Ooh, an anthropologist. I'm one of those. I'll go talk to them for you. Okay, so we have two people, and so far it sounds like they're gonna split up, which is probably not a great idea, but there's some backstory here, dynamic. I kind of suspect they're gonna get separated, and then the survival's gonna begin. The jungle's actually a pretty tough place to survive. There's a lot there that you need to have some experience to be able to deal with. Now he's on his own. So now we're entering kind of into survival space.
Is everything all right?
Is everything all right? Famous last words. All right, so he's gathering stuff up. So it kind of looks like the two of them have separated out. This guy is in a great position. He's got tons of stuff. Gonna build himself a fire, which is pretty tough to do in a jungle because one of the downfalls of a jungle is that it's wet 99.9% of the time. I'm still a little curious where the survival element is coming in. So far we have two people flirting in a jungle. It's kind of like survival porn more than it is actually survival. Let's see what happens. He's cutting down trees, I'm guessing for a fire because he's already got a shelter. You know, otherwise a shelter is something that you'd want to build probably pretty quickly because it rains a lot in the jungle. You have lots of leaves that you could use as waterproofing. You can also use them to capture water to drink. Lots of big leaves in the jungle, really cool leaves. You can use them as hats. You can use them as funnels for water. If you know what you're doing, the jungle's a pretty good place, but there are also lots of dangers in the jungle. So he got the sticks, gonna light the fire. He had a lighter, so he doesn't need to use like a drill or a plow or anything primitive. This guy probably has a blowtorch with all the other stuff he had.
Mia, can you bring me a lighter?
See? Guy's got a lighter.
Remember when I mentioned we seemed to be lacking some equipment?
That's what they forgot. Now we're getting into some survival. Since everything in a jungle is usually damp, even the drill method or the plow is going to be a little hard. So ideally, if you have glass, if you have binoculars, if you have a camera lens, you can actually use that with the sunlight to start a fire. It's probably your best bet. Quickly, if you do get a fire going, you're going to want to take one of those big leaves and put it over the fire because there's rain constantly in the jungle. Exciting as it is to build a fire, you don't want it to go out immediately. That is a serious letdown. Well, the fire's good in the jungle too. It's gonna keep a lot of the bugs away, which you don't want. Mosquitoes, malaria, dengue fever, it's nasty stuff. Also keeps the creepy crawlies away. My Achilles tendon is spiders, and there are some big ones in the jungle, and they jump and they're venomous. Fires are good. The smoke keeps stuff away. Keeps predators away too. I have a lot of those. Jaguars, large snakes, anaconda, caiman. This guy's got solar panels. Really impressed with their setup. Love Mia. I'm at the village. Call me with radio when you wake up. P.S. Here's a little gift for you. Really excited to see what happens next. Okay, he's indexing plant species. It's good, he probably has a book because there are a lot of plants in the jungle that are edible, a lot that aren't. You want to be careful. If these folks really wanted to get out of there and they didn't have access to a village, which is very helpful if you have access to people who can tell you how to get out, the best way to get yourself out of a jungle is one, to find a location, a vantage point, a high vantage point, so you have an idea of what's going on around you because the jungle's thick. It's really easy to lose your way. Or to find a water source, a lot of those in jungle, a river, and follow it downstream, which will most likely get you to civilization. So she's teaching him how to find a plant in the jungle. That's gonna treat his wound. Many of the medicines that we use daily come out of the jungle, but again, you've gotta know what you're doing out there. It looks like he found it. Got a water source there. It looks like still water. If you're gonna drink that, you're gonna wanna boil it. Ooh, wound's getting nastier. That went downhill quickly. His gal pal knew a trick and a plant that will hopefully disinfect and protect that wound, so that's good. The guy's not gonna get gangrene. He just crossed through that river there. It's always a challenge in the jungle. Got his machete. Machete in the jungle is a great tool. If you don't have one, a stick is good because plants are prickly. There are spiders, there are snakes. One thing you don't want to do is be clearing away any brush with your hands. Looks like he's got a festering bite there on his left hand. A good way to protect yourself from both sun and insects is to put a little bit of mud on your skin. Whoa, is this the village where Mia was supposed to be? This has been abandoned for a while. Going back to building a shelter since village is burned down. Building himself a little lean-to. Okay, that's good. Just enough for his body size. And put in some palm leaves on the bottom there, keep you off the ground, away from things such as fire ants and bullet ants. So our friend here is looking for Mia, but in the meantime, he decided to build himself a shelter, which is smart. Build it close to a water source, but not close enough where if there was flooding, the water level went up, you get washed away. He's sleeping. This is good. Rest is very good. Hopefully he built a shelter in a more open area. One of the biggest dangers in the rainforest is actually tree fall. And a lot of people die by trees collapsing on them. And it's interesting because the water table is so high in the jungle that the roots are very shallow. So the trees aren't rooted very securely. So if you're ever in a jungle and a storm comes up and there's a lot of wind, get out of Dodge and get away from the big trees because they fall and smush you. He's got a pot. This is good. He's cooking some food. I don't know where he got that food. Probably from his like 400 cans of goods. But if not, you're gonna wanna go after some protein fish. You can make yourself a 3-pronged spear out of some bamboo that is abundant. Also bamboo catches water. Got like the little ridges. He's got a fire so he can boil that water, get rid of the parasites, cook himself some insects, everything from caterpillars. Oh, he's going for the big game. Probably like tapir, capybara. I wouldn't even recommend that. Honestly, there's so much food in a jungle when it comes to insects, fish, and plants that wasting energy trying to catch mammals, not so good. And if you're not sure about fruit, if you see monkeys eating fruit, that's usually a good indicator of fruit that you can eat. Probably boiling himself some water, that's smart. Smoke from that fire is gonna keep mosquitoes away, snakes, big predators. What's this? What's he doing, ayahuasca? It's like, you know what? I'm here. I've got some business I need to clear up. All right, guys and girls, thank you for joining us. For more Gamology videos, head over to Facebook and YouTube.